far. Rib is going to, of course, play tank. He will be on the Reinhardt for the moment. Adam is actually going to play onto the Ana on King of the Hill. Kai will play the secondary tank in Winston. Rolf, of course, on that Zenyatta where he made his name in E-League. Short4 is going to play Genji, and Mendo going to flex onto the Zarya. So a little bit different as far as standard King of the Hill stuff, as they're running triple tank.
They are running a more tank-heavy composition, which is a little bit interesting, given that when you look at Mendo historically, you think, oh, you're putting Mendo and Cheer4 on a team. You're going to have this crazy double DPS combination, throw Mendo on a Tracer, throw Mendo onto a Reaper or something, let Cheer4 do whatever he wants, throw him onto McCree, but they're going a little bit more conservative, a little bit more heavily tank-based. So, both teams right now opening things up on top of the point, trading out poke to begin with. C9 a little bit more on top of the point, but Tempo not really conceding too much ground. Both Reinhardts effectively shield the shield to start things out right now, as again, standard poke game starting out, but Kai a little bit of overextension, immediately punished by B-dropped. Mangachu falling through here on the McCree, and the McCree pick for Tempo working out as they're going to pick up the first 3 kills and push a C9 right back. So C9's opening not quite what they were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely dominating that first fight. It is of note that Tempo Storm tonight is playing with a fill-in, a tryout, whatever. It's going to be Spo who's playing on that Lucio. Spo's a player we've seen on a lot of different rosters too, a veteran from back in the closed beta days. We'll see if that works out. Really all I'm looking for Tempo, and maybe, you know, it doesn't look like this is the case now, but I just want them to be competitive with Cloud9. This is a team that's had a lot of turmoil in the last, well, I mean, since their inception, since NG Red, so we'll see if they can actually just hang with Cloud9. I think that would be a good result in and of itself.
Well, take a look at Mangachu right now. Big matchup to watch is Mangachu versus Cheer4, the McCree versus Genji matchup, where McCree can be a big deal in shutting someone like Cheer4 down. And we're seeing this right now in the backline. Cheer4 getting on the Mangachu. Sound Barrier gonna come out here, and here comes the Deadeye. Skulls popping up, gonna take down Kai, but Cheer4 taking him out from behind. Cheer4 down 3 teammates here. I'm not sure he's gonna use a Dragon Blade, might just hold off on it for the next fight, but no, he's just using it. Thinks he has an opportunity. Going right in, has the nano boost, electrified, looking for a little bit more. Gonna meet the Earth Shatter instead, though, and get charged right into the wall, and not, again, quite what Cheer4 was looking for.
Yeah, you did buy them some time, though, to get the trickle back onto the point, as they're going to try to rotate back in, not really regroup for another team fight as the 4 come in, and there goes the Primal Rage trying to get some work done, too. So maybe it wasn't the giant Dragon Blade, but it was a lot. Here comes that Mana Boosted Reaper.
And Boosted Reaper is coming in. You take a look at Mendo coming in off the other flank. Has grab time at the ready. Hui, though, just going to spin right in. Ends up picking up the 3K. And that should be a clean hold here from Tempo. And Tempo now at 78%. They've been stopping C9 from really getting anything done that they want to get done. And C9 now down to their final push. So what are the keys going to be for this final push? Well, they do have Graviton here and at the ready. Mendo's going to have to set up his team well. B-Drop can turn the Graviton right in on them. So it's not a guarantee at any rate here for C9. But here we go. Opening Graviton is out. Both teams trading off right now. B-Drop able to take off Cheer4 as a result of that. First pick off here to Tempo, and Mendo not able to get anything going. Hui taking him down. 64 here for Tempo, and Tempo looking like they're going to have a very clean round 1.
Well, as the supports do come in for Cloud9, though, they get a couple kills of their own, and when your supports are getting kills, that's really nice. Rib does follow it up with an Earth Shatter, gets 2 on the ground. Hui is able to Wraith Walk away as they try to bring this back. Mini with an Earth Shatter of his own, but Short4 is coming in as well. It is a 2v1 on the point. Cloud9's going to swing it back, and they bring this back from the brink of oblivion.
They were able to bring it back, and it did result from the flanks you were talking about there. Just bringing some life. Cheer4 was able to get back into the fight. He was on the first to fall, which means one of the first to reinforce. And I'll notice, by the way, that we do have the change up here in Cheer4 for quite a while now. He's off the Genji, onto the McCree. And suppose saying mouse bungee got caught. That's actually the worst. When, for whatever reason, your mouse cord gets caught in something, it's not a fun look. But take a look here at the next fight. Both teams relatively dread on ultimates, but we will have the sound barrier coming in here from the side of Tempo, and that's going to let them be a lot more aggressive, and here we go.
God. Oh God, Hui.
Hui moving in, was able to get 3 kills, just spinning right in there. Spo with the fall through on the Atom, and Tempo just like that, off the sound barrier, able to reclaim the point and take round 1.
Yeah, Tempo looking surprisingly well there. I think, like, King of the Hill, I've always kind of knocked the Tempo team just because when they do poorly on hybrid maps and things like that, you just kind of can see it even on the product on the screen that they're not communicating well. But King of the Hill in control maps kind of takes some of that away from it. You don't necessarily have to have the most coordination, it's can you out-duel people? And they won every single one of their duels. I will give B-Dropped a lot of credit though. He had a really cool flanking Zarya when they had dueling Gravitons, and he got himself in great position, did not have to worry about that Reinhardt shield, and that Graviton set them up for a nice intermediary hold. We'll see what if there's any switch-ups coming out. Mendo, seeing the power of Hui's Reaper, is going to switch on a Reaper of his own.
Yep, C9, they're definitely trying for a little bit more tank-heavy stuff on the first round, not going for it here on round number 2. Mendo gonna be looking just for more raw muscle here in the Reaper, and just moving straight in, going right for B-Dropped, immediately deleting him with the aid of Kai there, so immediate first pick off here from C9, and Tempo just kind of caught with their pants down here, and now they're gonna have to be careful about trying to push this back. 5v6 is not a good position to be in. Mangachu, though, does outmay Surefour, and here comes Mini. Charge right in on the Mendo, and as a result, Tempo Storm is still very much in this fight. We're right now dodging back and forth, going to go in on Kai. Shot after shot landing. Kai able to back off, though, takes down Naptime in the process, and it's a bit of a brawl back and forth here, but still a little bit more momentum here for Tempo as they push right into C9.
Yeah, the flanking Mei able to take out the opposing Mei made this fight last a lot longer than I thought it would, but they do end up diverting resources onto the point just to try to get first capture. However, they had already lost the fight. Hui tries to equalize it. Hui equalizing it very well. Takes down 2.
Hui just bringing in the fall through here on Tempo. We know Hui is a player that can bring a pretty good hit scan from time to time, sometimes a little bit streaky, but definitely appears to be a better day for him here thus far. Wolf getting one pick off here on the Ana. Ana, of course, is a threat. Look at Hui. He has Death Blossom at the ready, looking for an opportunity. Earth Shatter comes in from it. He doesn't quite get what he's looking for. I think he was hoping that he could set up Hui there, and here comes Blizzard from Surefour, going to monopolize a lot of space on this point. Sets up Mendo to roll right in, takes down Mendo, and here comes C9. Mendo with the nano boost, moving in, has 2, has 3, and Hex, he's going to be able to save the Death Blossom here if he wants.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to use it. Your ideal would be getting more than 1 kill and there's only 2 people alive. Spo's going to dance around a little bit on his Lucio and try to save this back. Mangachu comes in late. You had no choice but to try to throw bodies on the point, and that's going to be Cloud9 taking it for the first time. And I kind of dismissed the fact that they diverted resources early on after that fight to take first point, but they ended up with nearly 50% off that first cap.
It worked out well for Tempo, where they prioritized the objective and still were able to win the next fight. However, taking a look at their attempt to retake here, Mendo is holding on to the Death Blossom. Kai to the Graviton Surge. It could get caught here in the show, because Graviton comes in, pulls in 2, and Mendo looking to just dance around. Not even using Death Blossom here just yet. Use it later on the fight, picks up 2, and that should be a hold here from C9. C9 finally starting to work some momentum, but Hui in the backline! Death Blossom Nano Boost picks up 4, and Tempo turning this into more of a scrappy fight than C9 with hope as Hui picks up a 5th.
That fight was all but over, and it was kind of curious what they did. They sent in like 4 over the top, and I was wondering, I'm like, well, you can't really do that and just send the other people towards the point, but apparently when you have an Ana and a Reaper, and in this meta, spin to win is the actual fact of the matter, I guess you just send Hui in to murder everyone and you take the point back.
All right, take a look at B-Dropped right now, holding on to the Graviton, able to melt down Kai, throws on the Graviton. Doesn't look like he got too much in it. We'll see if it sets up Tempo for any extra kills. Already up 1 to begin with. Hui, though, overdiving, a little bit punished. 5v5 right now, and the Earth Shatter gonna come in from Rip, but just not enough. His team split off as a result of those ice walls, and I'm not sure they're gonna be able to turn this here, Hex. If they don't, it's gonna be round number 2 to Tempo.
Yeah, it's not looking great so far as they lost Adam and Mendo pretty early in that fight. They're going to try to get in, but a beautiful wall is actually going to deny entry to even stall that out for Surefour, and he gets cleaned up by the hammer of Mini. So that is a quick 2-0 for Tempo. Color me surprised.
0-2.
Tempo coming out a lot stronger than expected here. I think if there's a reason for it, I mean, of course Tempo has been grinding things out. There was a roster that at one point did have very good results, at least the core of it, so to see them rebound a bit isn't too surprising. I would say the more surprise here for C9 is that they came in with a strategy that they clearly weren't as comfortable with, and it seems like they're still swapping things in and about. Surefour, for example, now playing something like his 4th or 5th hero here of the set, so Surefour is sort of flexing here, there, and everywhere, and it hasn't quite been as effective. Personally, I would still like to see him just come out here in the McCree for King of the Hill. Like when C9 has done well, they've done well off of Surefour, just going crazy off of McCree plays, and I don't think it would be the worst if they sort of clutch on that a little bit more here, but Surefour gonna be busting out the Roadhog for the Sanctum stage.
Well, it's a great McCree map, but it is also a great Roadhog map too, so you can get the hooks and use the space here to drop people off of the edge as well. They're gonna just fight over stairs. This is generally where the first battles take place. on this stage, just kind of trading back poke damage. We'll see if either of these Reinhardts wants to get aggressive with a charge. There goes the charge.
Charge comes in, both teams down one to start things off. Mendo, though, getting into the backline, takes down his counterpart, looking for more. C9 definitely more momentum here as Rib, the charge, leading the way, knocking people into the air, creating an opening for the rest of C9 to come right in, and this will be first capture here for C9. Probably one of their better starts thus far in this map, where C9 definitely came out a bit cold.
Yeah, it just looked a little bit kind of slow there from Tempo as Mangachu was running this Hanzo. He got a Wolf in there, but it didn't matter because everyone else had been dead, and that allowed them this space to get off the platform. What they wanted to do was use the platform to kind of push them up there and then get the Wolf through, but it was too late.
Kai takes down Mini. B dropped us down. It's already 64 here for C9. Mendo just W. Mouse wanting his way over, shooting primary fire after primary fire. Doesn't really like what he sees there. Did not want to fall victim to simple geometry. Backs out. But the damage has been done here. C9 maintains momentum. They maintain control of the point. And Tempo is going to have to back out and regroup here once more.
It's a tough area to get back in on this map. That's true for most King of the Hill maps, but this room is just a room of death and slaughter. So they're going to try to get in here, just take it pretty slowly, but they got to watch both sides.
Graviton comes in from Kakai, going to pull in at least 4 here. C9 looking for a little bit of extra follow-up. They have Reinhardt, Rib in the back line, throws down the Earth Shatter. Might work a little bit. Was down to almost no HP, is able to recover, and that's going to be 3 kills from C9. They catch Tempo a bit off guard, and Tempo now down to about 2 pushes left here, Hex, to really regroup this. Even as they do get a few kills towards the end, it should be C9's cleanup, and it is.
The tanks were trying to bring it back for him, and Tempo right now, they're going to just really rely on this Graviton into Dragon Strike. I would imagine that's one of the big reasons that you're running Mangachu on the Hanzo. Mangachu's got... Alright. Hey, we have a pause button.
Uh-oh.
No,
that is one of the newer features here, where pause is a thing. It's one of those things where Blizzard does listen to community feedback. They have it in the game. So now we can just wait for Mangachu to get back in the game. But so while we have a break here, we can defer the Slasher a little bit. Slasher, are you surprised at all by the outcome here thus far, with Tempo coming in pretty darn strong?
Yeah, I am. I think Hui's playing really well right now. Probably better than Mendo so far in the series.
All right, we are back in game. That was a short pause, but a necessary one. Going back in the game. This is round number 3 in Nepal right now. Tempo with a 2-round lead. Here comes Mendo rolling into them with the Death Blossom. Doesn't get as much as he wants. Mangachu going to take him out after a sleep dart. 5v5 right now between both teams, and Tempo weathering the storm with that sound barrier, but they're still very much poked down. Rib coming in from the flank, Earth Shatter, setting up C9 for 3, and they will be mopping up Tempo once more, and at 99%, they put themselves on the board 1 round to 2. So C9 not fading out on Nepal here just yet.
Score.
No, not done just yet. The reason I've been so surprised with Tempo so far is that I know that they simply weren't confident against Cloud9. Cloud9, I guess is one of the de facto best teams NA right now, even though it's a very, very new roster. But I know that they just simply weren't confident. They did not believe that going against Cloud9 was going to look good for them. But so far, up 2-1. Our reverse sweep doesn't look great, but you know, the metric I set out before this set started was if they can even just hang with Cloud9, I'll be pretty impressed with Tempo. And Slasher's absolutely right. Hui's been a madman. He's won points single-handedly with the help of nap time in a couple of these situations. So we'll see if they can actually close it out on Nepal.
Hui has just had very solid Reaper play in general in this series thus far, but both teams coming up once again. Cheer4 going to use the Ice Wall to split off Tempo, not let them roll in the C9 quite as aggressively as they'd like. That Ice Wall is gone though, Tempo has recovered. But you look at the poke war right now, C9 is winning this poke war. Nap time and Mini both very, very low, but the charge from Mini coming at the end ends up suiciding himself right into Kai. Kai punishes him right away. Still 5v5 though, as Rib will fall. Tempo though starting to turn it back in their favor. Hui with 2 kills here thus far, able to Wraith form out with 47 HP. And Tempo just, even though that started a little bit weird off the Ice Wall, they were able to grind it back out and put C9 on the back foot.
This was the stage they looked most dominant on, so they got to be thanking the RNG gods to get this roll here in the 4th stage, as Hui is just hunting right now. Mangachu and Hui are about to have their ultimates up here, and we've seen Hui just clean up, not only with just regular primary fires, but his Death Blossoms have been on point as well. So Nap Time only needs a couple more shots before we're going to see the pinnacle of the meta right now, which is on a boosted Reaper. Like it or not, that's probably what we're going to see in the next 20 seconds or so.
Very, very likely to see this. Now, of course, teams have gotten somewhat better at dealing with it, but it's hard. If you miscalculate at all, you are going to get team wiped if people are staying anywhere remotely close together. Hui tries to go over the top, immediately countered by Surefour. Surefour down the McCree, taking him down. It's 3 kills here from C9. And I like the McCree pick here by Surefour. Not only is it somewhat of a foil to Reaper in a lot of cases with the stun, able to stop ultimates and really force Reaper back, Surefour is just really good on McCree and can do things with this hero that few people can in terms of just good consistency. So C9, they will retake the point here. They're no longer running the Mei, but I don't think they need the Mei here. I think they need the McCree all along.
Yeah, that was a great call. You called for it a stage ago. He finally listens to you and comes up on that McCree now. And you mentioned it. He's really good for Reaper. Not only is this stun great for shutting it down, but hitting it. Oh
my goodness. What a sleep dart coming in, but it's not enough because you sleep Surefour, and Mendo goes in and picks up 5. Yes, pretty much doomed either way, because if you don't sleep Surefour, you're probably all dying the Deadeye.
Yeah, they did end up baiting out a bunch of ults there, though, too, so that's nice for them. They only have 2 ults on their own side. They are defensive and reactive ones as well, Sound Barrier and Earthshatter. But right now, Tempo does have the huge advantage ultimate-wise. We'll see if they can get it done. I think they wanted to use him a couple minutes ago, but they just they lost Hui early, and without Hui in there for your Death Blossom on the boost, then you don't want to use anything to engage a fight.
Well, this next fight is a fight that's going to be very hard for C9 to win. You take a look at Tempo, they are fully stocked on their ultimate war chest. Sound Barrier going to be coming down from C9 as they try and fight it back, and Surefour takes down Mangachu early on, so it's 65 for C9. They're still down ultimates, but this is a very good opening. Earthshatter's falling on both sides. B-Drop, though, has to back out. Surefour winning the poke war. He ends up dying. It's a 2-player advantage from C9, and this is not a fight Tempo should be losing with all the ultimates they were coming in with, Hex.
It's got to be a mistake, though. And I do not believe they meant to nano boost the Lucio there. No. There's a lot of targets you can use for nano boost to do some damage, but I think at the bottom of that list is Lucio. I think he might have accidentally jumped in the way for an ultimate meant for Hui.
That's one of those things that just happens with nano boost, and it's not great, but they still have enough ultimates that you could have thought would have worked well. Yeah. Meanwhile, though, Kai can open up the Graviton, pulls into Adam with the follow through. B-Drop got fall immediately. Counter here from Mini, though, so 5v5. Mendo rolling around here with the nano boost. Looking for an extra pickoff. Will get that pickoff on the Mangachu, and C9 right now in a beautiful position to take this round and even things up 2-2 as they really restabilize here in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, they're going to absolutely bring this back 2-2. B-Dropped unable to get on the point late to stall it out. So, looking for the reverse sweep on Nepal here. And I just have to agree with you. It's such a brilliant call that going to the McCree to kind of just shut down the Reaper. And not only is it for the Death Blossom and the stuns, but I think Reaper is very uncomfortable when he's losing health, right? Because you have to be in people's spaces. You need to be at like 250 to really feel comfortable engaging or even hitting Death Blossom or something like that. So just a headshot, it just makes him think twice, and it really just kind of puts a wrench in his plans to play anyway effectively. So I love that pick. It looks like Surefour's going to stick with it.
Again, I think Surefour and McCree is one of those special cases in the game, and there are special cases in the game where a character is greater, or a player on a character is greater than the sum of its parts. I'd say the other case that you can bring up is when you take a look at a player like Shadowburn when he's on Genji. He can run Genjis in situations where he normally wouldn't. Now Surefour, they were able to win here with Roadhog the last time around Sanctum. They're throwing him on the Hog again. Not the worst idea. It's pretty good in these Reinhardt v Reinhardt battles. He can crack the shield. And here comes the hook. Is he in the pit? Not quite, but he's still in a whole lot of trouble. Ends up getting taken out by Mendo. First pick off here, the C9, as Surefour right now just like a surgeon in the back, gonna be throwing Mei into the pit. And it's gonna be a full team wipe here for C9 as, again, just good, solid mechanical play, winning them this point.
Yeah, he does come off that McCree, but I guess the aim is still there to hit those mile-long hooks and pull people to their death by gravity. This is a tough map to re-engage. A nice hook comes in to really make Mini think twice about trying to come in. They're all holding right side. That leaves the left door completely open, and they are going to find free passage here to start the fight.
Yeah, you take a look at Tempo. This is a good approach. The Reinhardt is giving them enough space that they're able to move onto the point. In fact, they're very likely to take the point. If C9 doesn't go on immediately, they get punished a little bit. Kai falling to his death. As Tempo now perhaps catching C9 a little bit off guard with their slow push onto that point. They're grinding it out. Rib is going to fall here. And Naptime just sitting here in the corner, healing up everyone he sees. Surefour still alive, but his team is no longer here with him. It's just Surefour and Adam versus the world right now. And Adam, he can wall ride all he wants, but he is going to get taken right out.
some tanks are just going very, very aggressive. Now, you mentioned like the Reinhardt went off the cliff. He got charged off the cliff. We have jump hooks trying to happen here as Short4 leapt off the cliff, hoping to pull someone with him to her death. So tanks are willing to die as long as they take someone with them, it seems. Here comes a grab.
Grav comes in. That's going to get the bulk of C9 in it. Saber, though, comes out to keep people alive in that Graviton. And Tempo, for now, not getting quite what they want from there. Rib able to take down B dropped immediately. It's 5v5 right now. Hui's still in and about, does have the Death Blossom at the ready. Gonna be looking for it. Right now, looking for the hog first. Shore4 going to fall. And they've done enough here where I don't know if he needs Death Blossom. He might do it just to be sure here on the Graviton, and that's exactly what happens. Death Blossom comes in. Hui picking up another 2 as a result, and Tempo going to fight C9 off, at least for now.
Yeah, we'll see what they want to hold here, too, because last time it was Cloud9 holding all on one side, and that really let them in. I think it's one of the better choke points in the game if you just want to hold left and right side, and we've seen so far from Tempo that they will segment off their team and run kind of squad play. We saw it on a couple different stages and worked out really well for them, so they're holding generally on one side, so that is going to be where the fight happens as Cloud9 chooses to fight instead of take the free entry.
C9 approaching once more. Mendo holding on to Death Blossom, trying to get the free Zarya pick first. But all that's happening, it's Tempo with the counter push. Able to take down 4. Mendo's Death Blossom getting absolutely nothing done. He spins, immediately dies, and loses all of his ult charge for the attempt. So not quite what C9 was looking for. Tempo holding strong. Now Tempo, one more team fight away, Hex, from taking this first map away from C9. C9 going to have to clutch on some big heroics here from Rib. Rib looking for the Earth Shatter. He can't bring the hammer down. Instead gets juggled into the air. Oh my goodness. That is one way of stopping Earth Shatter. It's 2 kills here from Tempo. Mendo trying to be here in the back line. Not going to happen. Takes a shotgun to the head. And Tempo Storm just a few more kills away from taking map 1 away from C9.
Mangachu's had a great couple of minutes here. Not only the ultimate there, but he's hit some nice hooks to really lock this down. Rib's going to come in desperation-wise, gets hooked in yet again. The celebratory Death Blossom off of the edge from Hui as they... Well, you know, I'll say I'm surprised, but this is the one thing they were lacking coming into this set was confidence. And if you didn't have confidence now, you know, they definitely do after that set.
Somewhere out there, Ray Dad is smiling upon Tempo because this is a pretty big victory for them where they've been building their squad for a while, but it wasn't really sure if they would have results. Now, certainly C9 is still rebuilding as well, but it's a quick strike. And again, we're going to throw to some of the analysis here from Slasher, but Slasher, we talked a little bit during the pause, but this is a little bit unexpected coming in here.
Raynad is smiling, so says Tempo ZP. You know what? They really are. It comes down to the final round, and although there might have been some miscommunication with Spo getting a nano boost, and that might have thrown around for Tempo on a village, I kind of have to go back to the very beginning of the map where Cloud9 decided to go Zen Ana instead of playing Lucio. Now, the advantage of that is that you have more damage, you have more ability to, you know, have some, you know, more output when you finally get control of the point. But without Lucio and without speed in this game, which is still probably still the best ability in the game, they lost control of the point to begin with to start out the map, and they were never able. They basically gave away a round for free, and when you go to 5 rounds, that one round may have been the difference. Now, it can't be that just that one thing. Really, I think there was better ult management coming out of Tempo, and Hui, for the most part, played better than Mendo. You have to question maybe some of the choices out of Cloud9. Yes, I think the Roadhog was the right call from Cloud9 based upon the way the map worked. Yeah, some weird stuff from Tempo, from Mangachu when Hanzo, that one time on Sanctum that didn't really work out as well. But Shore4 was playing so well on McCree, why not just let him continue to be on McCree? Maybe it's not exactly what you planned out in scrims, even though Roadhog works better on that map. Triple Tank works better because of Ana, and we all know, you know, how that goes. But Shore4's McCree is still one of the best in the world, along with Mendo. So to not have McCree on either of them for both the maps that they lost, both the rounds that they lost, you know, is kind of interesting. Now that we're going to another King of the Hill, I have to suspect that they won't make that mistake again. I mean, I know they've been practicing these certain comps the way they want to play, but put your players in the best position to win on the characters that they're best at, even if the comp is a little bit less than the ideal meta, you know, for the current way that Overwatch is played right now.
So you bring up a good point there while we're stuck in pause and waiting for Mini to get back in the game, but that's a concept that we've been seeing in Overwatch quite a bit as of late. The idea that you have your meta, and your meta is good and fine. You have your new hotness that comes out every now and then, but there's still enough difference in skill where people do have their favorite heroes, where you can make a hero work, where even if it's not the best thing on paper, you just might be so good on a hero, especially relative to what people expect, that you can make it work in suboptimal situations. And again, I think Shadowburn probably the poster child for that more so than anyone else, but I think you make a strong argument for Surefour's McCree as well, as mentioned in game, as you mentioned on the analysis just there. And Hex, we're unpausing here. We're getting ready to go on the Lijiang night market stage. And what do we see here but Surefour opening things up here on the McCree? I wonder if this will be an adjustment that C9 ends up coming out with.
Well, he's going to have to duel his counterpart too, because on the other side, we do see Mangachu for the moment on this McCree as well. It's going to be interesting. I don't think we're going to see it. I would love to see it if Spo sticks on this Junkrat, but that would mean they're only running a single healer in Ana, and as good as Ana is right now, especially the way the meta is, I don't think you can afford to not run a Lucio on control point maps. I just think that's not even an option.
I gotta say, by the way, that I keep getting freaked out by the pause where I think my game crashed in the middle of going, oh no, the game crashed, is my internet out, is something terrible happens? Like, no, it's just pause. It says it in the middle of the screen.
Pause in 2016.
Thank you for that, Rod.
Well, so I mean, you bring up a good point, though, just as far as putting Surefour on the McCree, even if it's not meta or it's not really locked in there. And I think that there's a couple things that go with that, is that DPS is one of the roles that you can kind of roll whatever you want. It's not like you have to run a certain thing just kind of strict to the meta. It's less strict than the other ones. And also on King of the Hill maps, you can kind of get away with it more than you can on perhaps a hybrid map.
Definitely. Well, the fight has begun here. Surefour is on the McCree. Mangachu is his counterpart on the other side. Both McCrees putting power into the Reinhardt shields. Mini's shield explodes, and so does Mini. Mini with the panic charge, and Surefour able to get on the flank, effectively setting up for 3 kills here, looking for more Zarya. Not going to be long for this world, and C9 just overpowering tempo for the first fight here on Lijiang. And again, sort of going back to our pre-analysis in the last game and all the rest, I kind of want to see Surefour just stand this McCree from here until we actually see that tempo can beat them with Surefour on the McCree.
I'd agree. There was a whole lot of cowboy in that kill feed, and we talked earlier too about how poke damage is not all that effective. One thing McCree does is finish fights. Those giant headshots from a mile away just end lives right there, and he got himself a couple of cleanups. There it starts it off though. Mangachu playing the better McCree takes out Surefour.
Mangachu isn't done yet, has 2 to start things out, looking for more. This is a case where Zarya never really likes it when McCree is on her from long range, hard to deal with. Mangachu ends up being the sleep dart, gets woken up immediately, and tempo, off of those early picks from Mangachu, able to immediately turn it right back in their favor. So thus far, here in Lijiang, it's been a tale of 2 McCrees between Mangachu and Surefour, and of the sample size of 2 fights here, whatever McCree has done better has won the fight. So we'll see how things go going into the next fight. Surefour, though, getting on the high ground right now, looking to use Deadeye to his advantage. High ground plus range. B-drop, though, takes down Rib pretty early, and this could spell trouble here for C9 as they have to win this 5v6.
Well, they do rotate near the point and get a lot of people into this Graviton. A sound barrier is going to save everyone out of it, though, as tempo continues to clean up. Mangachu gets 2, Surefour gets 2. The McCree battle not settled yet. A nice Earth Shatter, though, takes down a spinning Mendo, but Rolf grabs another. It is so brawly, so back and forth right now. A 2v2 on the point.
It is extremely back and forth right now. B dropped one of the last people on the point with Hui. Hui holding on to Death Blossom. Probably doesn't want to use it in a small-scale skirmish, but if it's between that and losing the fight, I definitely expect him to use him. Right now, he's behind the wall. Might be looking for LC9 to rush in and just use the Death Blossom. Unconventional, doesn't have the nano boost, but still can be very effective. And that's why he's in this corner right now, Hex. He is waiting for the opportunity. There's 3 people there. Here comes Death Blossom. Hui coming in from the corner. Immediately takes down Kai. Does damage to the backline. And it looks like it might be enough. It's 2-on-2 right now, but Surefour, the heroics coming out towards the very end, is taken out 2. And right now, this is where he's unleashed. Who's going to stop Surefour at this point? Maybe B dropped, but he's got to just need 2 headshots, and down he goes. Surefour with the cleanup, and C9 will be retaking this point.
It all's kind of coming down to which McCree dies first, because it leads the other one to feel extremely safe, just based on the range they're able to operate on. There's not a whole lot that can touch a McCree in either of these compositions. Perhaps it's going to be up to the Ana, but you don't really want to 1v1 a McCree as Ana from any range.
Well, the graviton coming from B dropped. I don't know if the follow-up is there immediately. Mangachu was looking for the Deadeye going in. It didn't quite work out. Now the graviton is down. The Deadeye is down. And C9 still standing as Rib. Drops the hammer. Earth Shatter in. Rulf coming in with the backup. First kill here, the C9. And late sound barrier here from Tempo. I don't know if this is the greatest. They're going to end up getting graviton instead. And that sound barrier might be as good as Wasted X.
Yeah, just a really interesting sound barrier to start off that fight. I think the notion was to sound barrier very far away and get the Deadeye onto it too, but they only grabbed one. Deadeye was unable to clean it up, and you see the difference on the other side, the patience from Kai there to wait a couple seconds into the sound barrier and then graviton, and then they didn't get the immediate kills, but the cleanup and the isolation of those targets was pivotal to winning that fight.
Surefour right now coming out the Deadeye to start out the fight. Does a little bit of poke damage, not as much as looking for it, but he's still in great position laying shot after shot here. Will be taking out Mini. Both teams down at the Reinhardts, but Mendo gets the backline. The Death Blossom takes down 2. And the 3 remaining members here at Tempo Storm, not super likely to pull this back. Mangachu versus the world, and he's just flanked on all sides right now, X.
Yeah, I'm sure that you're happy to see a Banana McCree die. You still dislike that skin?
You know, honestly, the Banana McCree, Sasha just comes in, it's like, yes. It's grown on me a little bit more. I still think that if you didn't get a McCree during the Summer Games event, you really messed up. If you're new to Overwatch, you know what? It's not your fault. You can get it next year. But if you were playing Overwatch regularly and you somehow didn't get a McCree, I don't know. Somehow I feel like you messed up because that is by far the best McCree skin in the game right now.
Really play McCree
potentially ever.
Skin. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. America, yeah, totally. That's a play on American McGee, right? The game designer, game creator.
I mean, maybe?
Gotta be.
You might be looking for something that's not necessarily there.
American McCree and American McGee. I'm like 1 letter off. How is it not there?
It might be a thing. It could be a coincidence. You never know. Let's not paint Blizzard into a corner here.
Fair enough.
But the fight is underway once more, and Surefour, unlike what we saw in Nepal, is sticking with the McCrees, so both teams might just be running everyone's favorite cowboy. Surefour right now going around the flank. He's not seen to start things out. Spo in a bad way right now, lucky to get away with his life, but he just runs into the meat grinder anyways. It's 3 kills here from C9, and they should be able to turn this forward in their favor as Tempo just running out of players to actually fight with.
Well, one thing I really love about Honest Sleep Dart is it really shows you a team's priorities of who do we think is the problem. And despite Hui, who had been running rampant through this team in the first couple of stages, they have been sleep darting Mangachu's McCree every chance they get. He got slept early in that fight. He is tired of his siestas, though. He's done on McCree. Mangachu finally giving up the ghost, goes over to Roadhog instead.
Roadhog can definitely present matchup problems with McCree from time to time. It makes McCree have to be much more aware of his positioning. You can't just sort of randomly dive to the backline as Surefour has been doing. Otherwise, you're going to be running to a hook, and you take a look at Mangachu. He knows who his target is. He's going to be applying pressure to Surefour and not let Surefour get as comfortable diving on to things like the Lucio, like the Zarya. And you notice how Surefour's positioned right now. He's afraid of Mangachu. He doesn't want it to go down that way. Still, though, C9 is definitely winning this poke war. The sound barrier's out, and they're going to push this to their advantage. As a Tempo, lucky that not have anyone fall just yet. Mini will fall. Here comes Graviton from Kai, and that should be it as Surefour is right there for the cleanup.
It's another one of those issues, I think, where you can just tell that Tempo's not talking to each other correctly, because there were 3 people in that fight, and then Mini decided he was going to ult, but his backup was already retreating to Pax. They were trying to get out because they didn't have a healer with him, as B-Dropped and Hui were trying to get to Pax, and so Mini, unaware of that, ends up using his Earth Shatter, tries to go in alone, gets nothing out of it.
This is really rough here for Tempo because they're going to get 4 ults up here, but if they use all these ults and get nothing, it's probably the end of the round. Here comes Mendo, Nano Boost in, Death Blossom in, immediately takes down Nap Time. And Tempo, 3 people down, that's going to be it. They're going to have to back up and reset for 1 final push. They'll have 3 ultimates for it, so you look at the ult economy situation, they're pretty likely to take the next push if they can get to a point in time. This is going to be very, very tight timing-wise, where they might not get the best positioning, and as a result, they might not get the best Graviton going to this fight, Hex.
Yeah, they do have like about 5 seconds here before they have to get on the point. The Graviton does start it off, a nice charge in by Mini to follow that up, too, as they take down 2 on their entry, though Wolf does take down Mini in the meantime, though, so it's not completely one-sided, but Mangachu taking down Mendo might just be the boost they need to flip this fight around. They do have a huge advantage on the point. They will flip it at 99%.
Important thing to note there is that Surefour died pretty early in the fight. There was no risk of Surefour getting cleanup towards the end, but now they're going to have to hold this for many a team fight in a row. They lose a single team fight, they will be losing the round. So C9, they're coming back strong here on Lijiang, and C9 might not even have to wait for a crazy ult resurgence here. They have Death Blossom already at the ready. Mendo's had more of a quiet game here, but he could be about to go off. He's coming around the flank, and we'll see if it's effective. But here comes Hui. He's not letting him get the advantage. Hui's going to go in first. Nano boost out, but he gets slept. That's a great sleep dart coming out from Rolf to stop Hui in his tracks and leave open the possibility of C9 taking this. Graviton out from Kai. Kai pulls in 3, and is the follow-up going to be there? Hui just Death Blossoms kind of willy-nilly to make space. It's not going to be enough. Surefour the fall through, and C9 taking this right back, Hex.
Yeah, they tried to use their ults to keep themselves alive into that Graviton. The whole hog came out, Death Blossom came out, trying to make at least the giant ball of players look intimidating. It does not do that as Tempo goes down 0-2 in this second map.
And that is a rough situation to be in here for Tempo, where you take a look at the last map, they came in very strong, up to nothing to begin with, ended up finishing out with 5. Doing the reverse sweep here on a control map, it's possible. We've seen it happen before, but it's not super likely. And again, you want to make the comparison here in Nepal. The biggest change up that we've seen is that on Nepal, Surefour was all over the place. Opened up with Genji, ended up on Mei. Roadhog was just constantly switching up what he was on. Here on Lijiang, it's been McCree, McCree, and more McCree. And thus far, Tempo hasn't had a satisfactory answer to shut down Surefour the way they need to.
No, their best answer was Mangachu on his own McCree as well, but I don't think that's his favorite here. I don't think he's the most comfortable on it. When we've seen him really dominate it, it's been on this Roadhog and also on his Pharah play. So I think that Surefour probably has the edge in just 10 hours and experience on McCree, and it's showing.
And Surefour right now, just going around this upper side. It's a little bit more annoying for people to get on. It's not as free for, say, Zarya to just rush him down, and he's able to land shot after shot. Now, overall, Tempo actually doing a little bit of a better job in the poke war here. They keep C9 out, and what a hook! In from Mangachu, gets rid of the problem, as they'd say in the FGC. And now Tempo in a much better position here. Earthshatter coming in pretty early in the fight. Mendo in the nap time, but still Tempo with the momentum, and Hui just going to town on this backline.
Yeah, Rib with a very ambitious Earthshatter ended up getting into a wall, got nothing out of it except for a 0% on his ultimate charge. That is brutal, especially for something like Earthshatter. Mangachu continues to clean up, grabs a kill to end that fight. They're going to come in here a little underpowered as they're waiting for Zarya to get back in, but they're going to at least put pressure on the point.
They're keeping pressure on the point. For now, it's still in Tempo's control. They're getting percentage as they fight this, and Mendo just taken out by that hook. Mangachu starting to feast on these hooks in the way that he really hasn't the rest of the game here thus far, and Tempo, no fear. Another hook coming in from Mangachu. Has Whole Hog at the ready. Might not even need it, as Tempo just being relentless and cleaning up kill after kill at C9's expense.
Yeah, this is looking really bad for C9. Like, the fight went on long enough that Mendo, who was the first kill in that fight, is trying to get back in here now, but it's been Mangachu just landing hooks and deleting the DPS for the most part. The first fight it was Surefour, that one it was Mendo, and with only 1 damage dealer up, they've been struggling to get kills. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, Hui into the back. Death Blossom taking down 3, boosted by the Nano, and that is going to be another big team wipe coming out from Tempo, and they didn't have to use their full ultimate war chest there either, there, Hex. They still are holding on to the Sound Bearer. They still have Earthshatter and Whole Hog. So even though C9 is a little bit ahead in ult economy, it doesn't necessarily give them a decisive fight over what Tempo has right now. As B-Drop's going to open things up here. Graviton at the ready. Pulls in 2 members of C9. Sound Bearer out from Tempo. They are all in on here, countering ult for ult against Tempo. But Surefour, not doing too much of it. Takes down Mini. And might be the beginning of the end here for Tempo as they start getting ground right down.
That kill on Mini was absolutely enormous, though, because he had just Earthshattered, they just knocked down the Reaper, and he was going in to try to clean it up and finish on the charge. He got halfway through the animation before he took a bullet to the brain. So a really clutch kill from Surefour allowed them to keep someone alive and then open that fight back up for them. His McCree showing up yet again, and now they have a small ultimate advantage as Rib's going to look for redemption on a better Earthshatter than his first one.
And this is a case where Reinhardt can really shine, where all you really have up is an Earthshatter in the fight, where this can be the difference maker. Rib, though, not able to find an opportunity, gets swarmed by Hui instead. Both teams down a player to start things out. Surefour, though, uncontested here on the top, and anytime Surefour is not under pressure, it is bad news bears for the other team. Mangachu not even in a position to get a hook off on him, and that will be C9 holding once more. And moral of the story there, you must defeat my Sure 4 to stand a chance. They need to get on Sure 4 early in these fights, or that's just gonna happen. And McCree also has the double penalty where he's much better at cleaning up a fight towards the end when there's, you know, it's more of a 3v3 type setup. So that even more emphasizes the point where Tempo must get on Sure 4.
One of the best duelers in the game. I think Cloud9 has really adapted to what Tempo has been running, where they're not necessarily going in as 6 or a clumped up 6 at that. Their nap time is playing very far away from his team. In the last couple of fights, Mendo has just been hunting him down in the back line.
Sure 4 knew Mangachu was coming up and noped out of there immediately. Ends up taking him out from behind. And even though Hui is able to take down 2 with the nano boost, while his team is falling around him, it was great mind gaming coming out of Sure 4 not to get taken out by Mangachu. And Sure 4 just running around, master of his own domain right now. And now Tempo down to their last fight here in this map packs. If they lose the next fight, they lose the round and they lose the map.
This is one of my favorite parts of this map when a McCree actually rotates up to the top here, because this is a great spot for a Deadeye, the highest of noons, if you will.
It's a great spot for McCree in general, where you can't really get in on him easily. He does have Deadeye at the ready. Sure 4 is waiting for the fight to develop a little bit, and then he's going to go for it. Graviton is out. Happy little skulls popping right out. Mendo takes down 2, and Sure 4 is going to be here for the cleanup. Tempo almost certainly going to lose this fight, and what a clean comeback coming in here from C9. And I gotta say, not to beat the same drum over and over again, but if you look at a main difference between the two maps, it's really Sure 4 being on McCree the entire time here in Lijiang, where he wasn't on Nepal.
They haven't had a clean answer for it, that's for sure. They've been trying to get Manga to get hooks on it, but when Sure 4 is playing as positionally dominant as he is, behind a whole lot of garbage, you're not going to be able to hook him cleanly. And who is going to get this play of the game, just because that's where Reaper is right now, but Sure 4 has definitely been the difference in the last several stages.
He absolutely has, and the other thing too is that even though this was one of Hui's bigger highlights, in general, Hui was getting contained a lot of that game, and part of it just had to do with Sure 4, where as a Reaper, you can't crazily dive the backline if you have to worry about getting told whoa there, getting headshot by a McCree and all the rest. McCree, it's not a direct one-to-one counter. I mean, there's a good amount of interplay between the two characters, but McCree gives Reaper more matchup problems than a lot of other characters in the game.
Yeah, Reaper doesn't have like a super clean hard counter, but another DPS playing outside of his range is probably his biggest issue. And Slasher mentioned it before we started this, that Hui is sometimes inconsistent, and the Hui that we saw in the first couple stages was dominating, and he's been rather quiet since then. And maybe that is Sure 4 just kind of putting the fear of God in him. Like I mentioned, when you're playing Reaper, you don't want to do much when you're below 200 health. And with Sure 4 hitting a shot a mile away every single time, you're always a little bit scared, because going in at close range, you're just that close to dying. But we're going to go to Numbani to settle this one. It is 1-1. Both teams took a King of the Hill map earlier. We'll see what they want to do on hybrid maps.
And real quick, Slasher, before we get into all the goodies on Numbani as our third and final map here in the series, any thoughts on the change-up we had there from C9, where really just felt like, oh, we just put Sure 4 on McCree and they don't have an answer for it?
I mean, it really helps a lot when you have one of the best McCree players in the world playing the McCree that he should be playing. I think that was a big part of it. Also, Mendo had a much better Lijiang than he did on Nepal. And when Ana Reaper is such a big combo right now in the meta, you need that to work out well. Mendo and Rolf, both new players to this team, and their coordination and working together is going to have to take some time there. He was able to get more flanks off. He was able to do a lot more than he was able to on the first map. I think that was also a big part of it. And here, really playing against Tempo and playing against Mangachu and this team, you've already walked on Farah Mercy. I am sure that is going to be what they're going to run, and he's going to have a big game here on Farah Mercy, on offense and on defense, if they're going to want to be able to win this.
All right, well, taking a look here on Numbani, we do have a surprise in store for everyone that is watching. Your TV set, your stream, whatever you might be watching on, do not adjust it, because a Bastion is in play. C9 is going for this early Gambit, and this almost takes us back to the good old days, Hex, where, look at this, defensive Torbjorn, defensive Bastion. How far back have we gone? Because teams have been playing Numbani a little bit more standard as of late.
I get so excited whenever Cloud9 chooses Numbani, because we do mention it's the lab, but they are a team that really makes that point come home. They always try something different. A lot of times we've seen Cloud9 even run an offensive Bastion on this map, but it seems like they toy around a lot on this. That's a beautiful concussion there.
It is, and here we go. Tempo Storm not wasting any time. Mangachu immediately dispatching everyone's favorite dwarf. Mangachu going even deeper. 2 down to start things off. Rib firing back at Shirt4. Recon mode Bastion mowing people down. Who needs to be a turret anyways? And C9 actually able to turn that more back in their favor. I think that's a case where if Tempo had just gotten their early picks and played the point more rather than chasing in after C9, I think they would have actually taken this point. I think they just overextended when they had a pretty sizable advantage.
Yeah, they really had a great advantage as far as the range went, right? Because Rib was up there, and like I mentioned, that concussion blast from Farah was beautiful to knock Rib off. It exposes Short4 all alone up top. There's another great one. They started again. Can they take advantage of it this time? Oh, that
we'll have to see. So Shirt4, though, pretty content to stay here in the back. And here's the key, is that Adam has Resurrection up now, so it's not as simple as simply killing the Bastion. You must also kill the Mercy, or just kill the Mercy first. But either way, tank mode is out. 2 kills come out. But take a look at Adam. Adam's here in the back, very content, going to be rezzing people up. Res comes out from both sides, so the fight effectively reset. I'm not sure Shirt4 is in the best position. He's just recon moding it up. Doesn't need to go into a turret, but might have wished he did, as Hui is able to dispatch him. Bit of a brawl here between both teams. Hui going to be trying to turn this around. Will of Dragonblade out and does not waste time. Unchiefs it immediately and looking to clean up the remaining members of C9. Has Adam in his sights as he slices him down.
Yeah, really nice sound barrier late from Spo there to keep them alive as Rib was trying to clean them up with an Ana-boosted Reinhardt. Mendo's going to come in here and try to stall out, but it's a little too late as B-Drop cleans him up. They do end up switching off of this. Short4 may have had designs on getting back to first point on this Soldier 76, but it looks like he's going to stay on it on second point. Mendo also rotates off of the Mei onto a Zarya instead. So the first Gambit worked out for the first couple fights, but unable to hold it with that Bastion and Torb. They will switch onto a more traditional comp. Good to see some Soldier 76 back in play.
I think this is a case where Shirt4 went to 76 just to get back on set point a little bit earlier, and now it's a case where he doesn't want to go all the way back to swap it out, because you have to go all the way back to spawn, so he's pot committed right now to the 76, at least for the next fight. Looking for that mid-air Helix Rocket, and really Helix Rocket is one of the main tools of 76 right now in this meta, where you can't rely on the poke, you have to look for the burst to start things out. Adam, though, goes down immediately as Mangachu being relentless over the top, Barrage coming out, ends up taking out 3 before falling himself, and C9 down a whole lot of power right now. Just Kai with Primal Rage, Rib dancing about. Might stall things out for, oh my goodness, Kai was all in, ends up getting juked by the Mercy in the, oh no he doesn't, Naptime wasn't able to get back to the edge. And now they're pausing. Wait.
Well.
I'm confused. Did Kai pause the game to say, hey, what's up?
Maybe.
I don't think that was his intent, but that was definitely the result.
Well, we got another interesting
I mean, Naptime felt the edge, man. I don't know.
Well, Short4 did switch momentarily onto McCree and then onto Tracer, but it might have been the same situation we saw on the first point, where he switched to Tracer to try to get back to the second point. I feel like McCree would be his best option here, because Mangachu has been the problem for them. This is Mangachu's home. This is what he wants to be doing on the Pharah with a Pocket Mercy and Naptime. Mangachu and Naptime have been playing this combo forever. You need to have an answer for it.
Mangachu coming to the backline right now. Shirt4 is on the Tracer. Not necessarily the best answer to this. Mangachu, just being a wizard here in the back, takes down Adam, looking for more. His team, though, dying all around him, will end up falling to Mendo and Kai. It's going to be Kai with the triple kill here on Winston to clean things up and give C9 some degree of stability. And here's the X factor here to look at C9. You take a look at what Tracer will be looking for here. Tracer is very good at delaying pushes, just in the sense that if Shirt4 wants to get a little bit more aggressive here, not wait for the big bang combo of Mendo, but just go in and land a Pulse Bomb early, you can really stall and delay pushes with Pulse Bomb if you're that aggressive. And Shirt4 not going to be limited just by that. He does look for the early pickoff, just doesn't land it.
Now trying to take over the top, but they're going to rotate through top with their combo. Now the approach to dealing with the Pharah Mercy is either you change heroes to deal with it directly, or you ignore it and kill the remaining 4 heroes. That's what they did the first time.
Soundbear's out here from the side of Tempo. They're moving in. Mangachu so close to getting the barrage up. Doesn't necessarily have the best opportunity to use it, but Wolf has fallen, one of the bigger threats to Pharah. Mangachu coming over the top, gonna concussive blast himself to the back, and here's the barrage. Moving in, has 1, ends up getting 2. And still, I don't think C9 has had the best answer here to Mangachu's Pharah.
No, I really would prefer if Short4 went back on the McCree. I just don't understand when you're feeling that hot of a hand. You made some good points on why you run Tracer here. No one likes Tracer more than I do, but right now it has still been Mangachu who's been giving them the biggest issue. There's a great grab, though.
Kai just leaping in, sending Mangachu to his demise. 4 kills coming out from C9 off that Graviton. and they're going to hold here once more. So Tempo, for all of their pizzazz, able to do some fancy fair plays. They don't actually convert that much out of it. They will have a decent ult set going into the next fight. They have Sound Barrier into Pulse Bomb, into Earth Shatter. And for Tempo here, I mean, they have 2.5 minutes, so they have still multiple pushes in their bank, and Naptime says, no, I'm not even using the res. He goes on. They want to use Nano Boost into Reaper to try and crack the stalemate.
Yeah, flipping it over to a 3-3 here as Mangachu does come off of the Pharah onto the Roadhog as well. So everyone resetting their ults. They figured it was the right time. This fight might not be the fight that wins it for him, but they need to drain some ults out of Cloud9.
Pulse Bomb coming in from Surefour here, looking for pickoff, doesn't get it. 5v5 between both teams. Surefour, though, look at how much attention he's drawing from Tempo here. They're worried about the front line and the back line of Surefour getting poked all the while. This isn't a great look for Tempo. They end up going for the Sound Bearer, trying to turn it, but what an Earth Shatter! Rib threading the needle, knocking down the entirety of the Tempo team. And that is going to be a Sia moment if there ever was one. They will have to back up and regroup once more.
Well, kind of good is that they made them use a couple ultimates. Kind of bad is that they're going to have 4 ultimates up in the next fight anyway. So that's how much damage they did. They did get the Sound Barrier out very early in that fight. Of course, you saw Ribs Earth Shatter knocking down 5, which is amazing. And they're still going to be at the huge disadvantage here. Naptime's only halfway there. Hui a little bit away too. They need to kind of do a long, sustained fight if they want to get this on-boosted Reaper off anytime soon.
All right, you take a look at Mendo right now. He is holding on to that Graviton. Graviton coming out here from both teams. Mendo got pulling 3 for his. Kai there at the fall through. It's 3 quick kills here from C9, and just not the opening the Tempo Storm is looking for. And Hex, Tempo Storm, they are down to their last push and last attempt, but it's not going to be without its big bang in the sense that they will have Nano Boost into Death Blossom. So a lot's going to be riding on this combo between Naptime and Hui, where if they don't land it properly, that could be it for this map and a hold for C9. So everything riding on this next push here for Tempo Storm.
This is what they've been backing on since they switched the composition, is to have a chance to do this. But I really love Surefour's positioning. He's up over the top to make sure that they're not coming up over top, and he's going to get behind them immediately.
All right, and Hui right now just waiting, creeping, just waiting for the Nano Boost to come right in. Ends up rolling to the back, doesn't have a ton of great results. Naptime is dead. That Nano Boost is never going to come. It's Rolf taking him out in the end, and C9 just keeping Tempo Storm split out. They're not able to get the picks they're looking for, and this will be, in all likelihood, a hold from C9 right before last.
Yeah, Surefour on the cleanup in the back line, and it really just comes down to losing Nap early when he's the vital part of the combo that's supposed to win you the game, what you've been setting up for the last 2 minutes. Can't die like that. And they're probably pressuring him, knowing that the only way Cloud9 loses that game is if they get that combo off. So really good focus fire for them to take out the easier half of that combo.
I think it's a little bit of both there. I mean, obviously, C9 played that very well, but on the same note, all you have to do, you have one person that can stand way in the back and hit Q to buff up, and another person needs to roll forward. Now, again, he didn't have the greatest targets, and that definitely had part of the reason why Naptime did get picked off, but at the very least, you feel like they at least could have thrown in the ult at some point, even if it was less than optimal. They didn't even get to use the ultimate towards the end. And again, I think it's part C9 had great play, the sort of mystified Tempo, but Tempo should have been able to adapt at least a little bit to that situation.
Yeah, losing a game of Overwatch with your ultimate at 100% never feels good. It's like losing a football game when going, with 3 timeouts in your back pocket. It's just terrible management there. So yeah, it's probably a little bit of both that Cloud9 was targeting down that combo, because at Cloud9 you have to realize like they've not done a whole lot in the last 2 pushes, and the reason for that is they want to get this last one. Is what's the one way we lose this game? It's that. So it's like the first time you see Naptime, kill him. Now Naptime's issue was he should not let them see him, really. I mean, you've got the range as Anna to be able to get that off from anywhere. Not getting off that combo, it has to feel pretty rough for them too. So a tough road ahead for Tempo Storm if they want to bring this set back in their favor. It is tied 1-1 between Cloud9 and Tempo, as it's going to be Cloud9 taking over the offense. And unfortunately for us, no Bastion on offense.
Nope, there's nothing too crazy coming out here from the Tempo side. They're playing this a little bit more standard. I mean, they are running the defensive Genji, which is a little bit of a surprise given how much success Hui has had on the Reaper here thus far. I mean, it's one of those things where it could work out, but given Kai is running the Winston and all the rest, I don't know if this is going to be the absolute best defensive Genji game. I'm willing to have Hui prove me wrong, but I do think the Reaper would be a little bit better given what they're running. I mean, they're running Roadhog and Winston here. That's a lot of meat for a Genji to cut through. I don't think this is going to work out super well for Tempo, and they're probably more likely not to lose this on the first 1 to 2 attacks, but we'll see how it works out as the offense from C9 makes its way forward.
You'd have to think the moment he hears the thunderous footstep of all these tanks that his next death he comes up on Reaper, right? You almost need a Reaper against what they're running anyway.
It's really hard to deal with Roadhog when you don't have a Reaper in play. McCree can do a lot of damage on headshots, but other than that, just something to punish Roadhog for being a little bit YOLO, getting in your face. You do need the Reaper there, and without, it's pretty rough. Either way, though, we do see C9 taking their time. They take down Mini as a result of that hook, and now the 65 advantage. This is going to open up Surefour to really get to the backline here in just a moment.
Yeah, nice to start it off with an entry kill there. Naptime is discorded. He seems to be their primary target as a beautiful leap from KaiKai comes up over the top, softens up all of these targets, and here comes the cleanup crew. B-Drop doing his best on the point.
That was the most valiant scientist sacrifice you're ever going to see, because even though KaiKai died, he bought the time and attention of 4 people in the back. They all had to go after him. He poked them all the while, and it set up the rest of C9 beautifully to just go in and clean it up. And again, the biggest problem there coming out from the side tempo is that they just did not have the damage to cut through KaiKai quickly. If Hui was there on a Reaper, I think that fight probably goes very differently. And you take a look at it now, Hui off the Genji, now on the Reaper. Tempo recognizes what they need to swap up here to have a better chance of holding second.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why you don't default to the Reaper and then switch it up to the Genji if you have the chance, because you don't know exactly what they're going to be running, but if they are running triple, I don't understand what Genji is good for that you think they're going to run on offense.
Well, Grauton is coming in here from B-Drop. Tempo looking for their counterattack. It does not work in the least. Rib able to pick off 2 kills there, just punishing them as they roll in with Fire Strike and swing the hammer. It's going to be a full team wipe here from C9. Tempo still in the back foot and very likely now to give up second for free. So Hex, they're going to have to hold at last for almost 6+ minutes. That is not impossible, but it's pretty close, especially with the ult bank that C9 has stored up right now. And just as a reminder, if C9 wins next fight and they're able to move to that final point, that's it. They win the series.
Well, as Genji was a comfort pick likely for Hui early on in that defense, just kind of his best hero, what he wanted to play, Mangachu and Naptime back on their combo, perhaps in another comfort pick scenario.
Earth Shatter coming in from Rib, knocks down 3 to set things up, gets the charge right after. C9 with a very quick first 2 kills moving in, and they are absolutely relentless, using their ult advantage to their advantage, and they haven't even burned through all their ults just yet as Mangachu says goodbye to this cruel world, ends up falling off the edge, and now, you take a look for Tempo, this is the final last gasp. They must get back here. Meanwhile, KaiKai just knocking people back and forth at the spawn. I'm not even sure Tempo can get back and really properly contest this as they stream in Helter Skelter.
No, Hui B-Drop to Mini. I'll try to get there. B-Drop the only one remaining. Spo's going to come in late, but especially when you have a Zenyatta on the field to Discord people, that strategy is not going to pay off. And Cloud9 absolutely rolls over Tempo on Numbani to take this first set of the evening 2-1.
That's a little bit disappointing for Tempo. Tempo came out really strong, although even if you look at how Nepal went down, there's definitely some of the bloom coming off the rose towards the end, as Cloud9 was clearly playing much better in the later rounds of that Nepal game than they did earlier on, and they just carried it forward from there on out. A different C9 came out towards the end, and they were able to get the better of Tempo. And I do think there is definitely cases here where Tempo didn't do themselves any favors, like the opening in the Numbani. Momentum is a really big deal in Overwatch, and if you go with an opening that can't adapt to a Winston Roadhog opening, which is pretty common, it's going to be tough to recover, and unfortunately, I think Tempo just made a mistake with that early opening gambit.
Yeah, it's not necessarily even execution.